Hey everyone, Mangs here, and as you know, the prequel to Andaron Saga, Rebellion Saga, is set to release on February the 28th. To mark this occasion, I thought it was the perfect time for another lore deep dive, especially since it's been a while since the last one. Today, we are going to explore the history of Andaron's greater noble houses. In Andaron, 9 great noble houses hold power: House Lightbringer, House Windlance, House Flameguard, House Steel, House Ring, House Rose, House Speargarden, House Ashburn, and House Darkholm. They are called Greater Noble Houses because they were granted powerful regalia by the legendary Saint Joseph the World Walker. He created artifacts infused with the very souls of their founders. Below them are the Lesser Noble Houses, also known as the Vassal Houses. Unlike the Greater Houses, they lack these sacred relics and are often subservient to those who possess them. However, a Greater House can lose its status if its regalia is lost or destroyed. This fate befell House Claymore when their regalia was squandered in gambling debt. House Darkholm too lost access to their regalia, the Voidflare Tome, after it was stolen by Nemesis, who vanished into the Tomb of Horrors, only for it to be later recovered by Varg. But House Darkholm had a clever way to avoid the fate of becoming a lesser house. More on that later. It only makes sense to start with the most important noble family in Andaron, House Lightbringer. When Saint Joseph granted the regalia to the noble houses, he placed the Lightbringers above all others. He understood that light magic was the strongest force against demons and their nightmarish servants. Because of this, House Lightbringer received not just 1, but 3 sacred regalia. The Starfall Tome gifted to Lady Raquel, the Lumina Staff entrusted to Master Zacharias, and the most powerful of them all, the sword Dawncaller, wielded by Lady Dawn, and passed down to future kings and queens of Andaron. In time, Master Zacharias and his war monks forged a 4th regalia, the Hope's Fire Axe, though it never reached the same level of power as the others. House Lightbringer's duty was to rule over the other noble houses from their silver throne in the capital city of Malthrak. They commanded the largest army in Andaron, and were tasked with upholding order, ensuring that the noble houses did not turn against each other. Saint Joseph also taught them how to construct sacred shrines at key locations where the veil between the worlds was weakest, places where terrors could break through. These shrines served as both barriers and conduits of divine energy, strengthening the Lightbringer's magic when they stood in their presence. Above all, House Lightbringer was charged with protecting these shrines and preparing for the inevitable return of the demons. House Lightbringer values tradition above all else. They see themselves as Andaron's rightful rulers, believing it is their divine duty to guide and protect the realm. This sense of responsibility, however, often makes them appear prideful, even arrogant. Many view them as condescending, as if they see the other houses as mere subjects rather than equals. That said, their unwavering sense of duty is undeniable. They understand that when the time comes, they may be the last line of defense against an ancient, world-ending threat. The second noble house established by Saint Joseph was House Windlance, though history often forgets this wasn't their original name. When the house was first founded, it was known as House Windgale, named after its founder, Lord Archibald the Windlord, who was granted the regalia tome Archgale by Saint Joseph. However, many years after its founding, Archibald and his wife embarked on a journey to Hornheim, where they encountered the majestic Pegasi, winged horses that roamed the wilds. After successfully taming a few of these creatures, they returned to Andaron and began training members of their house to ride them, creating the first ever Pegasus Knights. As the decades passed, Pegasus-mounted warriors became central to the house's identity, shaping their way of life and solidifying their role in Andaron's military and politics. Their airborne dominance was so profound that they eventually renamed themselves House Windlance in honor of their newfound legacy. House Windlance rules from Castle Malicor, a fortress built high in the mountains along the border of Andaron and Styxia, perched so high that its towers pierces the clouds. It provides them with an unmatched vantage point over the land. Their mastery of flight allowed House Windlance to become one of the most influential factions in Andaron. Their Pegasus Knights not only gave them an edge in battle, but it also made them the backbone of Andaron's communications, carrying messages and maintaining vital connections between other noble houses. In times of war, their airborne cavalry could dictate the flow of battle, striking from above where few could counter them. House Windlance values freedom above all else. As one of the oldest noble houses, they embrace exploration and adventure, often traveling far beyond Andaron's borders. Their lighthearted and carefree nature makes them easygoing, but also somewhat difficult to pin down, as they are prone to wandering. Despite often being mistaken for frail and delicate, their strength lies not in brute force, but in agility, strategy, and their unparalleled command of the skies. To House Windlance, power isn't about standing your ground, it's about soaring beyond reach. The third noble house to receive a regalia from St. Joseph was House Flameguard. Their founder, Lady Hel the Flamewalker, was entrusted with the Hellblazer sword, a blade of immense power, rumored to burn with an infernal energy unlike any other. Curiously, House Flameguard also possesses a second regalia, the Hellfire Tome. However, its original wielder remains a mystery. Historical records within House Flameguard has been intentionally altered, with all mentions of its owner erased. Some believe Lady Hel once ruled alongside a brother, but whatever happened between them has been buried, perhaps for good reason. Regardless, history recognizes Lady Hel as the house's sole founder, and it was she who shaped its future. St. Joseph assigned House Flameguard a task of monumental importance, guarding the only land route into Andaron from the south. This meant overseeing the border with Styxia and Timaeus, two established and powerful nations long before St. Joseph and the Lightbringers arrived. Joseph was especially wary of Styxia, a kingdom infamous for its mastery of necromancy. Fearing a future invasion, he ordered House Flameguard to construct a massive barrier, a defensive stronghold that would become known as the Infernal Pass. For generations, House Flameguard has controlled this passage, ensuring no army could march upon Andaron unchallenged. However, their command over the Infernal Pass gave them something else: wealth. Every caravan passing through had to pay a toll, granting House Flameguard an immense fortune. Over time, their wealth turned to greed, and their hunger for power only grew. As the generations passed, their once noble duty became entangled with ambition, and they earned a reputation as a house driven by ruthlessness and control. House Flameguard values security above all else. Their castle, a fortress of locked vaults and iron-barred doors, stands as one of the most impenetrable strongholds in Andaron. They are known to be secretive, their affairs shrouded in mystery, and many suspect that much of their wealth and power is preserved through schemes carried out behind closed doors. To outsiders, they may seem cruel and calculating, but to them, power is survival. They do not trust easily, and they never forget a slight. While other noble houses seek honor or adventure, House Flameguard thrives in the shadows, ever watchful, ever prepared. While House Flameguard was entrusted with defending Andaron's border, House Steel was given an even broader duty, protecting the entire realm from threats within and beyond. To their towering founder, Lord Bolivar the Steel Dragon, St. Joseph granted a unique regalia. Unlike the weapons bestowed upon other noble houses, House Steel's regalia was a shield, the indestructible bulwark. The location where House Steel built their mighty fortress was rich in minerals, allowing them to forge the highest quality weapons and armor in all of Andaron. From this stronghold, they trained an elite order of warriors known as the Steel Knights, soldiers clad in nearly impenetrable armor, forming a living shield against any who would bring harm to Andaron's noble houses. Had St. Joseph more accurately foreseen the future, however, he might have reconsidered his decision, for centuries later, House Steel would be the very house to challenge the Lightbringers, igniting a rebellion that would plunge Andaron into turmoil. House Steel embodies courage and resilience. They see themselves as the unshakable foundation of Andaron, standing firm when others falter. Because of this, their nobles tend to be bold, brash, and unyielding in their beliefs. There is also a peculiar trait unique to their bloodline. For reasons unknown, House Steel has always produced significantly more male heirs than female ones. Some believe this is a blessing from the divines, ensuring their legacy of warriors never fade. Others whisper that it is a curse, bound to the house's fate of war and rebellion. No matter the truth, one thing is certain: House Steel does not bend, they endure. They fight, and when they stand for all of Andaron, whether as its greatest defenders or perhaps its most dangerous foes. Archers are the backbone of any great army, and St. Joseph knew this when he entrusted the Archgale bow to Lady Gale, the Howling Arrow. A markswoman so skilled, legends say her arrows could strike down a target before it even knew it had been spotted. With this gift, she founded House Ring, an order of archers, whose prowess would become unmatched across Andaron. Nestled in the very heart of the kingdom, overlooking the Karanos River, House Ring dedicated itself to the art of the bow. From the moment they could walk, their nobles were trained to be swift, precise, and unerring. For generations, House Ring has upheld a very unique tradition. Whenever a lord or lady of their house seeks a spouse, they do not choose their partners based on status or alliances. Instead, an archery competition is held, under the belief that two skilled archers will produce an offspring of unparalleled talent. Whether or not this practice actually enhanced their bloodline is a matter of debate, but the results speak for themselves. No force in Andaron has ever rivaled House Ring in archery, and to this day, they remain peerless. House Ring values swiftness, both in body and in thought. They see themselves as the keen-eyed sentinels of Andaron, ever watchful for threats beyond the horizon. Their warriors are trained to be agile and athletic, their minds sharp and perceptive, ensuring they can react in an instant should danger arise. Their rigorous training has given them a distinct reputation. Members of House Ring are often regarded as strikingly beautiful, their finely honed physiques and graceful movements setting them apart from the more battle-worn houses. But beneath this elegance lies a cold efficiency of a warrior who understands that war is won before the first blade is drawn. House Ring does not fight with brute strength, nor do they engage in prolonged battles. They are silent hunters, watchful protectors of the realm. To them, the bow is not just a weapon, it is a way of life. Chivalry, honor, and beauty. These are the foundations upon which House Rose was built. At the time of St. Joseph's arrival, two of Andaron's greatest knights were Lady Rosella and her younger brother Sir Florian. To them, St. Joseph gifted two regalia, the Rosethorn Lance and the Alastor Tome. But while each sibling was meant to wield one, Rosella saw something in Florian that troubled her. Though he was her equal in skill, he lacked compassion and viewed knighthood as a means to power rather than a duty to serve. Deeming him unworthy, Rosella claimed both regalia for herself. This betrayal sparked a bitter conflict between the two siblings, culminating in a duel on what is now known as the Rosellan Fields. Though Rosella ultimately unhorsed Florian in battle, she chose exile over execution, sending him away and taking sole leadership of House Rose. Over the generations, House Rose became known for its cavalry, founding the Order of the Rose Knights, an elite force whose strength and discipline made them legendary throughout Andaron. Admired in song and story, they rode across the land, enforcing justice and protecting the weak. House Rose holds chivalry and presentation in the highest regard. To them, a knight must be more than a warrior. They must inspire those they protect. Because of this, members of House Rose take great care in their appearance, believing that how one carries themselves reflects their discipline and integrity. Their knights are known for their polished armor, their impeccable manners, and their striking presence. Outsiders sometimes see them as vain or self-absorbed, but House Rose believes that presentation is a form of respect, both for oneself and those they serve. To House Rose, beauty is not just a gift, it is a standard to be upheld in all things, in conduct, in skill, and in the legacy they leave behind. Shunned by his defeat and humiliated by his sister's decision to claim both regalia for herself, Lord Florian sought out a private audience with St. Joseph. He pleaded his case, arguing that he too was deserving of a regalia. Impressed by his reasoning and conviction, St. Joseph granted him the gladiolus, a lance that would become the foundation of House Speargarden. Where House Rose prided itself on beauty, honor, and the romanticized ideals of knighthood, House Speargarden took a different path. Their purpose was not to inspire awe, but to uphold the rule of law. Order and stability became their highest priorities, and their elite Spear Knights were tasked with enforcing justice across Andaron. Though they never attained the same legendary status as the Rose Knights, their disciplined ranks became a formidable force in their own right. The bitter conflict between Rosella and Florian left a lasting scar, and even a century later, the bad blood between House Rose and Speargarden remains. Each house has its own version of the past, neither entirely accurate. Generations have passed, but to this day their rivalry continues, fueling competition between their knights and shaping the identities of both houses. House Speargarden values law, discipline, and order above all else. They believe that no one, not even the most powerful noble, is above justice. This unwavering commitment often makes them seem unyielding and distant to other houses. But to them, enforcing the law is not about kindness, it is about necessity. Where the other noble houses chase glory and prestige, House Speargarden does what must be done, even when it earns them no praise. They are the shield against chaos, and the silent force that ensures Andaron does not crumble from within. For House Speargarden, order is not just a principle, it is the foundation upon which civilization stands. Long before humans set foot in Andaron, the land belonged to the Centaurs, a proud warlike race devoted to their god Angvik. To them, life was a constant pursuit of glory, for only through great deeds in battle could they earn a place beside their god in the afterlife, joining him in the eternal hunt. The origins of House Ashburn are cloaked in myth, distorted by time and the proud stubbornness of its descendants. According to their own legends, their ancestors arrived in the Ashen Forest and drove the Centaurs away by sheer force. The truth, however, is far more complex. For decades, humans and centaurs coexisted in the Ashen Forest, intermingling both in culture and blood. It was not a human who first bore the name of Ashburn, but a centaur warlord named Ash, a mighty warrior to whom St. Joseph granted the regalia Ashcleaver. Ash then founded the noble house that bore his name, a legacy that would persist for several generations. Yet, somewhere along the way, that bond was broken. A great conflict erupted, and the humans of House Ashburn, who still carried centaur blood in their veins, turned on their ancestors' kin, slaughtering them and claiming dominion over the Ashen Forests. Defeated and ashamed, the remaining centaurs fled their ancestral homeland and resettled in what would later become known as Angvik's Forests, named after their god, whom they still revere. Ashburn nobles are giants among men, towering over their peers with broad, muscular frames built for war. The legacy of their centaur ancestry remains etched into their very flesh. Strength is their birthright, and combat is their greatest passion. The Ashen Knights, House Ashburn's elite cavalry, have carved out a fearsome reputation across Andaron. While they lack the grace and speed of the Rose Knights, or the tactical discipline of the Spear Knights, their brutal armored cavalry charges are almost unstoppable. When the Ashen Knights ride into battle, they do not retreat, and they do not hesitate, and they are known for breaking through any obstacle that stands in their way. Yet, for all their might, they are a house of simple beliefs. In their eyes, strength rules the world, and the weak exists only to serve them. Politics and its deceptions are for lesser men. House Ashburn settles matters with their fists, not their words. Among the many unwritten rules of House Ashburn, one stands above the rest. Ranged combat is for cowards. An Ashburn warrior will never wield a bow, nor will they throw an axe or a spear from a distance. This philosophy makes their tactics predictable, but it hardly matters. Even when their foes know what is coming, few can endure the sheer force of an Ashburn charge. To House Ashburn, war is not a game of strategy or finesse. It is a pure contest of power, and in their eyes, only the strongest will prevail. Last, but certainly not least, is House Darkholm. From the moment St. Joseph arrived in Andaron, he distrusted dark magic. It was the power of demons and terrors, a force tainted by the abyss. Yet he also understood that to defeat an enemy, one must first understand their weapons. And so, despite his misgivings, he entrusted Lord Vought, the Voidwalker, with a unique regalia, one touched by the void itself, the Void Flare Tome. But House Darkholm's purpose extended beyond magic. St. Joseph decreed that they would be the keepers of history, tasked with recording every great event in Andaron. To ensure their neutrality, they were granted the right to remain uninvolved in any war or political struggle, standing apart from the other noble houses as silent observers. This decree led to House Darkholm becoming one of the most enigmatic houses in all of Andaron. Their castle, shrouded in eerie darkness and illuminated by strange purple lights, looms over the land like a forgotten relic. Few outsiders have ever stepped inside, but those who have claim that endless bookshelves and mirrors line the halls, their purpose known only to the Darkholm scholars. House Darkholm values knowledge above all else. They believe that understanding is the greatest weapon, and that through study and observation, one can uncover the truth of the world. Because of this, they are often seen as detached, viewing the affairs of the other noble houses with the cold neutrality of historians rather than the passion of rulers. To many, they are nothing more than sheltered bookkeepers, shut away in their own libraries, unconcerned with the struggles of Andaron. However, not all Darkholm scholars remain locked away. Some feel the pull of the outside world, setting off on long journeys to record history firsthand, understanding that a book can only reveal so much. Yet, for all their wisdom, House Darkholm is not without its secrets. For hundreds of years, the rest of Andaron never even realized that the house had lost its sacred regalia. To maintain their standing, they quietly forged a false regalia, deceiving the world and keeping their true weakness hidden. Eventually, Varg of House Darkholm undertook a perilous journey into the Tomb of Horrors, where the original Voidflare tome had been lost long ago. Against all odds, he succeeded in reclaiming the true regalia. With its return, House Darkholm was able to maintain their deception, ensuring that no other noble houses ever suspected their moment of vulnerability. And that wraps up our look at the history of Andaron's greater noble houses. Which house is your favorite? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to leave a like on this video and also join our official Discord server for more news. Rebellion Saga is launching soon, and if you click the video on your screen, you'll be taken to the official countdown on YouTube. I can't wait for you all to experience this prequel when it releases on February the 28th. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.